If you don't got a period app, then you're doing wrong in your life. Just do the introduction. I can't.
Welcome back to Brooklyn Basement. We're in the building. It's me, AR, my man Will. Annie's in the building with us today. I have so many questions for Annie. What were you diagnosed with?
Really quick. In around like June, I believe. I don't remember. I went to Jamaica Hospital because like I was trying to find a psychologist, and the anxiety that I presented at the hospital was so bad that they were like, you need to go to the hospital. For you to get treated for this bad of anxiety, you need to go to the hospital and go in an ambulance so that then you can get treated quicker. They took me to a psych ward. That shit was a traumatic experience in itself.
Wait, hold on. Let's slow down a bit. How did you wind up in the hospital? Were you feeling like you were...
I shared my drug abuse. I shared that...
Okay, so...
I used to bite myself on my wrist because I'm not like a person to like cut myself for satisfaction. I bite my wrist.
Is that considered a cutter as well?
It's considered schizophrenic because that's what they diagnosed me with, and that's what they keep mentioning in my like hospital recap in my notes.
When did you start biting yourself?
A couple years ago. My anxiety and like bad like experiences and like depression and all that stuff didn't start until like 2017 when like I graduated high school. You could say that it could have been when I graduated high school because in high school I was like so comfortable there, and then when like I graduated I was like I had to start all over. Or it's because like during that time I started smoking weed.
Prior to that, you had no sign of anxiety or any biting or any...
No, my anxiety started in like 2019, and my biting started in like... I felt... Okay, so when I bite my wrist, it's like... I'm so numb. The anxiety is so bad that I feel so desensitized that like I have to bite my wrist because it's like I need to feel something. Whether it's like a physical pain or like an emotional one.
Do you normally feel it coming on when you feel like you want to bite yourself? Or is it a sudden thing? Or is it something like...
I mean, I don't do it now. So I've gone through a lot of phases in my life. And recently, since I've been hospitalized in like Jamaica... Not Jamaica the country. Jamaica Hospital here in Queens, New York. When I was hospitalized from that, it's like my whole brain fracture like changed. So the anxiety that I didn't feel anxiety after that. I felt anxiety before that. Like it was so physical that I would lose my my eyesight. My blood pressure would drop. Yeah, it was that bad.
Serious level, like blood pressure dropping, anxiety.
That's why they took me to the hospital because when I got anxiety, the doctor was like, "Okay, so what brings you today?" And it's like my brain was like, "Okay, finally, I'm gonna get the help that I need," because I thought something was seriously wrong with me. Like my anxiety. Like imagine you get like anxiety and it's like you can't see. Yeah, that's crazy. Fucking crazy. You would think that you have a tumor.
And that happened to you one time?
No, that happened to me multiple times. So it didn't happen to me every time I had anxiety, but every time like I had really bad anxiety.
Do you remember specifically the very first time it happened?
The first time was when I was in Galapagos Islands on like a vacation trip, and I almost drowned. That's also why I think like my schizophrenia is not schizophrenia, and I think it's just like a gift that I've been given, because since I deal with suicidal thoughts, it's like sometimes when I deal with my psychosis, it's like the gates of heaven and hell are opening because I'm so suicidal. Now, does that make sense? It's like I'm about to die, so like God is like, okay, let me show you what like you're about to...
So did you have suicidal thoughts prior to the incident when you were about to drown?
No. I had suicidal thoughts like around like 2021.
So
20 this year. This
so
year.
prior to the drowning incident, you had no anxiety.
The drowning incident was like unintentional.
Right, but I'm just trying to see like if it's something that you had before and the drowning
Triggered it.
Okay, so since the hospitalization in Jamaica, I haven't gotten anxiety. Okay, so my anxiety before that was like physical. I would feel it in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
My blood pressure would drop, and in extreme cases, I would lose my eyesight.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Then, after Jamaica hospitalization, I stopped using drugs.
Okay.
I was so traumatized from that it's like I didn't want to be on anything. I was just like, that's when my psychosis started, because I was so enhanced with my loss of reality that I didn't really need a substance because I was just naturally on that.
Right.
Are you anti like medication?
I mean, I've tried medication this summer, and this is the side effects that I experienced: loss of sex drive, which is a big thing for me, and also my personality. Like, I'm a very like, I guess that's the bad thing. I'm a very like uppity person, but I guess that's bad because you should have a balance. But I felt like that. Like, I felt like I lost my personality and my sex drive, which was like two very important things for me.
What is a day like? Like you was diagnosed with schizophrenia. What is a day like in the mind of someone that deals with that? Is it constantly on, or does it come on at certain times more than others? Or the moment you open your eyes, it's just there, and you just kind of like, what does that feel like?
On like a day-to-day basis, I deal a lot with like unmotivation problems. My mood would be like really down. But the reason why I got diagnosed with schizophrenia is because I suffered from psychosis.
Mm-hmm.
What is psychosis? It's like a loss of touch with your reality.
Okay.
What my social worker says is like, she's saying that, let's say you stop at a corner and you see a stop sign and you're like, oh, that stop sign was there because it's a sign in my life that I need to stop and blah 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 blah. But it's like being uncontrollable in the sense that like you can't sit anywhere without being like, okay, that's a sign, that's a sign, that's a sign, that's a sign. And I suffer from that sometimes. But it gets triggered rarely. And I'm going to be honest, it wasn't until I went to the hospital today after like a month and a half or 2 months of being absent that my psychosis got triggered. But it wasn't until but also I suffer from very like paranoid thoughts where I think like the government's after me, the government's like watching me. You're not really my friend because you're working with the government and you're like trying to find this information about me. But also I've realized that it's because I've done a lot of bullshit in my life that it's just like nobody really knows. So it's like I'd be scared that like surveillance cameras on the street,
right,
or like your
so
camera
way,
on your phone, it's
like
gonna
karma
know.
in a
Yes,
it's coming back, but in this like symbolic way.
Yes, that's why I don't really feel like schizophrenia is more of like a medical scientific thing. I feel like it's more of a spiritual thing. When I don't hear voices, I don't see things, but I do. It's like I see signs in something that's like nothing.
Right. So you apply them in your brain to some kind of message, a coded message almost.
Yeah, there was a point where I thought my psychosis was really like, because I deal with a lot of suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
I thought my psychosis was like, okay, you think you're about to die? Let me open the gates of heaven and hell, and you choose what you want to align with.
Right.
Because I've been educated on what psychosis and schizophrenia is, I feel like the thoughts aren't real. So then I just try to ignore it. But it's really disturbing because it's like, you'll be talking to me, but then whatever you say, I'll be like, oh, that has a double meaning. Oh, you're talking like double meaning. Yeah, you're talking about something else.
And Being that like, even with the diagnosis and dealing with what you deal with, you still carry on a regular life. You work 2 jobs. You super like involved with things. How does that? How do you block it? In order, does that affect work? Does work know? Do you have to tell them? How does that work out?
Well, it wasn't until recently that like my psychosis became a problem. And recently, I mean like literally the day that we're filming right now. So I don't really know when this is going to air. And I don't know if like until like the time that this is going to air, I'm still going to have that problem. But it's like I've done some things in my life where it's just like I'm having withdrawals of that. So I'm thinking maybe the withdrawals is affecting my psychosis, where it's like it's affecting my brain so much that it's like I'm thinking double meaning and everything and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a good manager. Like I'm like the type of okay. So one of my jobs is that I'm a part-time manager. And I'm like the type of person where it's like, if I'm in that role, I want to know how I could be better. So I constantly ask my like sales associates and my coworkers, what about me is like good and what about me is bad, and they tell me I'm good. And it's not even something that I'm like trying to hype myself up or like my ego and all that stuff. It's just like right now I'm good at my job. I will admit that I've been having sleeping problems, and because of that, by the time that I sleep and all that stuff, and then by the time that like I have to wake up, I'm too like into my sleep where it's like I'm gonna be, and then I oversleep my alarms and I've been late to work, so that's the only thing that I've been like reprimanded about.
When you're at work, are there moments where you go through those?
Oh no,
You start
no,
reading into things
no,
at work. No,
no.
so as long as you're occupied, maybe it kind of stays in the back where you is.
No, I love being occupied. That's why I have 2 jobs. Because the reason why I can't sleep is because my brain is thinking like 24/7. And not just thinking, it's just on 24. It's just on 24/7. Whether it's like my own conscious like talking about something or like a funky song playing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I can't sleep, because it's like my brain is on like volume 1,000%.
So you need something to drown out the thoughts
Yeah,
that are going on.
that's why I take
So
a
when
lot of
you
drugs.
and speaking of drugs, did you start doing drugs after that diagnosis or before?
So when I got diagnosed, okay, so when I landed in Jamaica Hospital, I didn't know my diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
But that experience was so traumatic that I didn't, the thought of me like, okay, I gotta smoke, was silent.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't smoking after Jamaica Hospital, after I was like in there. And I was only there one night. So after that, I wasn't really smoking.
For how long?
That was probably in like the end of June, and then I started smoking again in August. So I would say like 2 months.
Okay.
What do you think it was that made you stay off of it?
I was already experiencing my psychosis. The reason why I don't really mind my psychosis is because it feels like you're high without any drugs. Because you're paranoid, you're wondering, you're thinking, you're conspiring. Like it's like so many things that's happening that it's like, okay, like I don't really need to enhance my brain with drugs because my brain is already like off of it.
You flip it in a way it's like, all right, this is my high in a sense.
Yeah, that's also why I stopped like doing any drugs after Jamaica Hospital. It's because after Jamaica Hospital, my psychosis was turned on. But I didn't have the need to smoke because my brain was so preoccupied on those theories, conspiracies that I was thinking. Because that's what my psychosis is. I'll be like watching the news and they'll, like today, I was watching the news on Channel 41, Univision. And so, like, I just thought, like, any news that they aired, and they aired, like, about, like, 7 to 10, I was just like, oh, they're doing that because that relates to me, like subliminally, like that they're talking about something that I know.
Well, something you feel that you relating to, but you're really not, right?
Yes, like it's like it's
like-
like let's say I'm a secret agent
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to talk to me through code in the news channel.
Are both of those weed, or one is like regular vape and one?
This one is weed, a sativa, and this is vape, tobacco, sweet
See.
tobacco.
So you do it for the flavor and the high. Is that what?
I like the smoke. I like the sensation of the smoke and like my lungs. And I like it to the point where it's like I almost can't breathe. Like right now.
Because it makes you feel alive somehow. Like
Okay, so I feel like I have like serious like desensitization problems.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense where it's like I don't want to feel.
Mm.
So like with this, it's like it gives me a kick out of it. Because I don't get high anymore. I smoke so much weed. The oils have killed my tolerance so much that it's like I could smoke 10, 20 blunts and I won't feel like high.
Mm.
It'll be like smoking a cigarette.
so, it's purely just for the.
It's
you know,
because
it's something you're
I've
used to
smoked
doing.
weed so much in my life that it's developed withdrawal problems. That it's like if I don't smoke weed, I'm gonna get withdrawal problems. Where it's like I'm gonna get cranky, I'm gonna feel like desperate.
So you would disagree with people that say, weed is not like cigarettes.
Addictive?
Yeah.
No, weed can be addictive. I've been smoking weed since 2007, and the oils. And just to give you like a little information, like a blunt is 30 to 40% THC. Oils can be 85 to 95% THC, and I've been smoking that every day. Like I took a year break one time, and then like 2 weeks one time, and then like after that like nothing. So it's just like I've been smoking like almost. I would say every day. I would say I've been smoking oils every day, all day. I hit it all day. So it's just like my tolerance is high.
One of the things that you did say earlier when we were having a conversation was that you found yourself when you was in a relationship not thinking about some of these things as much. Like, do you feel like when you were in a relationship, the psychosis and stuff like that wasn't as
I didn't.
prominent?
I mean, I experienced some psychosis when I got out of the hospital, and I was still okay. So when I was in the hospital, I broke up with my boyfriend because I thought I needed to break up with him to leave the hospital for them to let me go. Then I got back together with him, and I still experienced some psychosis. Like there was like a time like during the week of my birthday. And he took me out to the city, and we walked the Brooklyn Bridge, and I thought the people that were taking pictures, the tourists that were taking pictures, were actually taking pictures to like catch me and him in the background, like how in love we are. So then like when I become famous, they could have pictures of me like, oh wow, like that's her like from the start.
You created your own paparazzi. And
Yeah. I thought they were paparazzi, like low-key paparazzi.
it's kind of like you living like a celebrity almost.
That's why I like my psychosis, because it's like...
You have fun with it sometimes.
It's like I have fun with my reality. The only reason why the hospital is like, okay, this is bad, is because when I was suffering from my first psychotic break, not even psychosis, but psychotic break.
And what's the difference between psychosis and
In
psychotic?
my definition, when I say psychosis, it's because it's like, it's tamed. But when I say psychotic break, it's because I think it's to the point where it's like, I have to kill myself. Which I've gotten into before. Okay, so like, when I first experienced psychosis, I would experience that as psychotic break. Because it got to the point where it's like I had to throw myself out the window. Because I thought I got a premonition that God was telling me that my descendants are gonna prosper, but I need to die. Like I need to throw myself in front of the trucks because I was in the highway. And then I thought also that I got a premonition that when I threw myself in front of the trucks, I was gonna be paraplegic.
I can't even say
Paraplegic.
There you go, Willie. There. Hey, that's what we got you here for, bro.
Yeah, just to
that was for the
straighten out the words. So
Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
No,
Yeah.
he's funny.
And he's
Paraplegic.
funny.
Paraplegic.
What would be the benefit of you becoming paraplegic? Did I say it right?
Mhm.
I would go along with my destiny, so that then my descendants could, because I got a premonition that like 40 years from now, my descendant was gonna like be good, and then like 60 years from now was gonna be like good and gonna like that.
Mm.
And how do you talk yourself out of that at that point? Like, or how do
At that point, I didn't know what it was that I was experiencing.
So it's pre-diagnosis.
So that's why I was like, I thought it was so real, to the point where it's like I had to act on it. I was like, oh God, I gotta kill myself.
And did you ever ask one of your friends or something? You like, sometimes you share stuff with your boy and be like, "Yo,
No,
you
it
ever
was
get that,
happening
dude?"
so quick.
But afterwards, like the next day, or I would come to Will.
No,
like,
I was
"Yo, Will."
hospitalized, nigga.
Oh,
Also, I was paranoid that the government was like surveilling me, and I did a lot of like dirty and like fucked up shit, and like in public. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I've had sex in public, so I thought that the government caught me doing that through like their camera surveillance, where it was like traffic cams, parking cams.
and what would they do with it?
Besides jerk off, what would they do?
Yeah, it sounds like a category on Pornhub, to be honest.
They were gonna like, my psychosis was
Going deep.
it wasn't like this much of like a plot. It was this.
So
much.
that was a small part of the entire plot. That
Yes.
was just like that was kind of
Yes.
the straw. That was like
I thought my boyfriend, because like I thought my boyfriend's mom was like working for the hospital, which entangled her with the government. And I thought because I was with my boyfriend and that was his mom, like they were also surveilling me. And then after surveilling me, they realized that they had to surveil my whole life. And after surveilling my whole life, they realized that like they saw that I was like doing a lot of like weird, like fucked up shit.
And how did he deal with it once you started getting to that point where?
I broke up with him while I was in the hospital.
But before you broke up with him, was he kind of sticking by you or just trying to
No,
understand?
he was. That's why it's like, now that I lost him, it's like, damn.
Would it happen often or just once in a while where you would spaz out?
I mean, sometimes I wouldn't let him know when I was suffering from it.
Would he know, like, are you okay? You know what I mean?
No, because I was like pretty good at hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went along with it. I thought I thought it was real. Sometimes like when I was with him, I thought it was real. Wait, hold on. You're going to have to repeat that.
So you would take him bar hopping and then what?
I'm so tripping.
Get a fucking it's right behind you.
Oh, yeah.
You know you cannot.
Sorry, y'all.
If you plan to do podcasting, you gotta
Can't hear you.
balance it out. Is there anything? Here's a question.
I plan to stop in the future.
How do you see yourself stopping? What do you think will make you stop doing all the drugs? But if you could make something,
I love doing drugs. I love doing drugs.
You,
I
yeah.
wish somebody would pay me to do drugs.
But if make something up, like just think of something like maybe if XYZ, I would
have to have a like near death experience.
To stop.
Yeah. Like I did in Galapagos.
Is that
I almost drowned.
Oh, right.
Is that what started the drug use? Because you said I might as well.
No,
live my life.
what started the drug use, I was in high school and my friends were like, try it out. And I was like, all right.
What was your first
And the
drug?
rest is history.
What was the first drug that you tried?
Weed.
Not weed. After weed.
Ecstasy?
Okay.
And after ecstasy?
Shrooms. Coke.
And pills?
Percocets.
And then?
More Percocets.
Oh, I did Xanax before that, but I don't really count it because I didn't feel shit. So I think it was like a vitamin pill. I wish I never smoked weed before because that was my first drug and that was like the start of like.
So that's another thing that you would disagree with people that people say, oh, weed is innocent.
Weed is different for everyone. But I will say that you can be addicted to weed.
What would be something that like you would want to speak about or express to someone that you wouldn't express to your doctors?
I will share that, yeah, I've talked a lot about my drug abuse, but that doesn't mean that I didn't have good times when I was sober. You know, at the end of the day, you have to know your limit.
Do you miss that innocence of just being sober?
Of course.
Because you don't know how to be sober.
I'm not gonna lie. I look at you right now, and even Will, like, I look at you guys right now, and it's just like, because you guys are, I don't see you guys like doing as much drugs as I'm doing like right now. It's like I envy you guys, because it's like you guys have that control that I don't.
Well, you know, it's funny because for me, I'm scared because my mind already, like you was saying before, how my mind already thinks kind of weird and crazy, and so I'm scared that if I ever try drugs, it's either gonna make me go loony, and just I won't be able to tolerate it and probably jump in front of the truck, like you said.
Would you try shrooms?
I recently tried the microdosing thing, and I would try it again. But see, what happened was I almost started panicking, but then I had to talk myself out of it, saying like, "Hey, remember, you only took a little bit. If anything, it'll wear out." Because my fear is staying stuck.
That's why he's asking so many questions. He's borderline. Is what he's borderline.
So before I get there, you know what I mean?
So he's trying to find out what happens if I start getting Andy symptoms.
Right? Or maybe she might say something. I'm like, "Wow."
Yeah. Because when I said Zoloft before, you said, yeah, I lost my sex drive as well. And then she said how she lost her sex drive. She took something. There's no enthusiasm.
No,
love.
you don't nut.
And for me, it was horrible because I'm multi-orgasmic. Like, with my boyfriend before that, he could literally be in me, not moving at all. And I'd be like, ah! But then, like, after the I was on the pills, it was like, I'd be like,
get off me.
Not get off me, but it's like,
she just knew that she wasn't gonna climax.
Right.
Yeah.
Oof, that's awful.
That is awful because I feel like that's a blessing.
Of course.
I've always wanted to be on the pink pussycat.
What is
pill.
that?
It's the Viagra for women.
Yeah.
But you don't need that. You multi.
Yeah, but
she wants it
multi. I love going over my limits. So.
Yeah, but you might fuck around and I don't know.
Explode my pussy?
Your brain.
They sell those in the store, you know. I fucked around and I went to.
You took one by mistake?
No, they said because they're honey. They sell honey, but then there's
girls.
Honey for girls.
Ah.
So I told my boy, "Yo, give me a honey from the store," thinking he knew what I was looking for, and he brought me back the women's enhanced.
I'd have brought you back regular honey, and we would have been making fucking tea.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody got their own for somebody. Yeah, he brought me women's enhanced pills, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?"
Next thing you know, you grew tits.
Yeah, I'm like, "What the?" Sexy shit. So,
hey, next thing you're like, am I getting fat?
I feel bloated.
I feel bloated. Nah, but maybe the sex is a thing that you enjoy even more. So because it helps from having those thoughts, the wild thoughts.
What I believe is that with drug addiction also comes impulse control.
Okay. And
with that may come like sex addiction. Because, and I will like verify from my personal experience, I've been in many situations, like sexual situations that I didn't really need, but I was just doing that because it's like I was going through something. You asked me one time, it's like, you're a nympho. I don't know about nympho, but I am a sex addict.
Same shit.
No.
Nympho you do it for no reason, however, wherever.
Yes, nympho means that it's you would come like a billion times. And it's like that's not enough.
Nothing's enough. No, you would do it anywhere, anyhow, with anyone, and that's an nympho.
I mean, I also do that. Do. I said do.
Period.
So, yes, that's what I said. That you're a borderline.
I guess borderline nympho. Definitely a sex addict.
Okay.
Definitely a drug addict.
Which one do you like more?
You had to give up.
Ooh, that's a good question. I've never been.
That's what I do.
If I had to give up one.
Yeah. Okay, so there goes the yeah. That might be the sobering factor for you.
I'll give up drugs, and I'll take sex.
So beautiful. You need a guy.
You know why? Because sex, I'll definitely feel something, and I could feel it mad times because I'm multi-orgasmic.
Perfect.
Whereas like drugs, after a while, it's just like all
Like
right,
with weed, like I'm like smoking this right now, but I'm just smoking it because I get withdrawal effects after so long of smoking it. But I don't really get high.
So if there's any message that you would give to a young kid, don't
do drugs. At the end of the day, I talk about it a lot, but it's because like I want you guys to know that I struggle with it. Like, look, I have to wipe my nose.
She's struggling.
That's not attractive. I'm a very beautiful girl, but because of the drugs that I take, I have to wipe my nose and look like I have COVID 24/7. That's not cute. So what I want you guys to know is that don't do drugs. Don't do it. And recognize your patterns. At the end of the day, there's always help, whether it's at the hospital or Narcotics Anonymous or meds. Like, I went to my psychiatrist today, and he's going to prescribe me on meds that's supposedly going to block out the reward receptor that I get when I do drugs, so that then I don't become as addictive.
So, Annie, this was very informative.
It was fun.
It was.
Did you think it was fun?
I thought it was
interesting.
great.
It was interesting.
I think we got a lot of stuff at the beginning about the mental health that I was curious about myself. I have more questions
For next time. I would love to keep filming, but they don't pay me enough.
We don't pay you at all, actually.
That's what she meant by enough.
We like to be honest here, you know what I mean? We pay in tissue. Annie, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you sharing your story.
We don't know each other for that long, but...
Probably 2 weeks now.
No, for longer.
It's 2 weeks.
2 weeks? No, 3.
This is only our second time meeting in person.
But we were talking a little bit before that. Not talking, just regular talking.
Yeah, because she has an ex.
Yeah, and I really want to get back together with him. He's my soulmate.
Not after this episode, he ain't.
He knows that I be...
Wilding for respect.
I love how this was supposed to be an outro.
We're going to end there. All right, yo, Will. Next year, Brooklyn Basement Podcast.
Brett, next year, 2023, we're going to bring you back. More interesting sessions. This has been great. This has been educational. Sexually educational.
Mental health is real. Get that checked out. I just started realizing I was a mental health denier.
You can't be. We're all crazy now.
I can't be in no more because I'm fucking getting...
We all need help, whether we believe it or not.
People poking in my brain the other day. Yep. Just like that.
What's that?
Do it to the camera.
What's that?
I've been doing it to the camera.
What's that?
You don't see her eyes?
Yeah, what's that mean?
She's orgasming.
Orgasm? No.
Orgasming.
What is that? What does that mean?
She's saying that she's mentally... Brooklyn Basement Podcast, man.
She take you home. Whoever, yeah, we saw that. She's talking to...
Who's in there?
I don't know. She's talking to the turtles again.
My mom calls them snakes.
That's where you got the schizophrenia.
I'm out, bitches.
Later.